I bought my first Ledger cold wallet over 4 years ago, and in this video I will give you my complete opinion on Ledger and especially tell you about the security, reliability of Ledger products and the points you need to pay attention to before getting started. I will talk to you about the drawbacks, the points to which you need to pay attention, the slightly more negative aspects of Ledger before you start, and I will also tell you which product from the entire Ledger range suits your profile best, and I will give you my final verdict at the end of the video. So let's start right away with security and reliability. So what do I think about the security and reliability after testing and analyzing the products from Ledger? So naturally, depending on the product you choose, you will already have features that will be more or less different, but in terms of security and reliability, it will remain quite similar since you will have a secure element chip, meaning it is used to isolate private keys and therefore you will be protected even if the device is compromised. So that's something very important. You also have compatibility with many devices, many wallets and applications, as it allows you to interact with hot wallets like MetaMask, etc. And most importantly, you keep your private keys offline. You can keep your private keys offline. So that's very, very cool. Then what about the ecosystem? Personally, this is a positive point. The Ledger Live ecosystem is very mature and very practical. Since you have an application and you can use it directly within your Ledger regardless of the model you choose. You can manage, send, receive, update the firmware and monitor your assets. Why do I say assets and not just your cryptocurrencies? Since, as you can see right here, well, it's not just cryptocurrencies, it's cryptocurrencies, tokens and NFTs that are compatible to store, exchange, manage and secure with Ledger products. So that's very positive. Now, I will talk in a moment about the negative points you need to watch out for. And I will also talk about the pricing, but know regarding the pricing that if you want to access the best current offers available on Ledger, I will put a link in the description of this video that will allow you to stay informed and get the best current offers, the best prices at Ledger. So if there are offers, etc., they will be available with the link I put in the description of this video. Then now, regarding the different products from Ledger, what can I say about the features and ease of use? Well, personally, I tested the first versions and indeed that's a negative point. I must say that they are much less practical and much less easy to handle since the buttons are quite small, the visual interface, the screen is quite small, so if you have trouble seeing or if you have quote-unquote big fingers, well, it's true that it's not very practical since the Ledger Nano X and the Ledger Nano S Plus are literally the size of a USB key, so it's very small. You can see it right here in terms of size. You should know that it is only available in USB-C for the Nano S Plus, and in addition to that, there is a Bluetooth on the Nano X. But it's true that a negative point is that it's really very small. So in terms of handling, it's not practical at all. So that's why we'll talk more about it later. But I would recommend for ease of use the Ledger Stax and the Ledger Flex. Now the advantage is that you also have the possibility to use your Ledger as a two-factor authentication key, and this via NFC. So in this case, it's very practical. You also have the list of coins that are supported and all the information on the website. By the way, I will also put it in the description of this video. if you want to check more information yourself. But now, what about the disadvantages, the points to watch out for? And right after, I will give you my recommendation based on your profile. So the first negative point for me, as I said, the Ledger Nano X and the Ledger Nano S Plus, they are quite inconvenient to handle. It's true that the buttons are quite small. The menus are not very practical. The verification, in short, it requires a bit of rigor and patience. So for that, is not necessarily what I would recommend the most. So be careful with the first two models. Now, something to be aware of here is that on the Nano S, you should know that you no longer have regular update since 2025. So that's a small flaw that should be fixed, but you need to be careful with the Nano S Plus. Then another thing is the price. Regarding the price, you have to be careful because personally, I find that the Ledger Stax is quite expensive in terms of price. We're talking about 400 euros to secure your cryptocurrencies. And I think that if you have less than 2,000 or 3,000 euros to secure in cryptocurrency, honestly, clearly, it's not worth spending 400 euros on a wallet that will only protect 2,000 or 3,000 euros of cryptocurrency. Unless, of course, you are really superstitious and really want to secure your cryptocurrencies. I personally find the Ledger Stax very expensive for what it is, whereas you have a Ledger Flex or a Ring X, which is much more mid-range and will have more or less the same security and more or less the same features. So personally, I find that as a negative point, the Stax is simply too expensive. We're talking about 400 euros. It's not nothing at all. Now, depending on your profile, which one I can recommend to you? Well, personally, I can recommend the Nano X if you are a small investor and don't have a lot of cryptocurrencies to secure, since it remains the classic of the mid-range. Even though, be careful, it's really for small budgets because I found it's a bit the same problem as the Nano S Plus. It is very impractical to handle and the interface is extremely small and it still remains quite impractical. So if you really have a very small budget and not a lot of cryptocurrencies to secure, it's still a good compromise. For the price, you get good security, good mobility, and it's a price that is more or less reasonable. Now, for me, the one I will really recommend is the Ledger Flex, which I will more or less recommend to everyone and that I use and recommend to my friends as well, because it has both the modern aspect, the touch aspect, the ergonomic aspect. You have a screen that is much easier to use. You have the possibility to connect NFC. Yeah, you have the possibility to support all cryptocurrencies, NFTs, etc. That you want. So that's like the others, nothing changes. But on the other hand, it's a price that I find reasonable for the features we are given and for the security as usual, which is very simply excellent. In terms of security, there's really nothing to complain about. So once again, the prices you see displayed are the current prices. And if you want to see based on the offers or not, for example, right now there is an offer on the Nano S Plus, and maybe when you watch this video, you will have a special offer. And regarding special offers, if there is one, well, I will put it in the description of this video. So really, I'm saying this for you. Go check, click on the link in the description of this video. It will allow you to see the different prices and compare a little bit the different ledgers and the current offers. So now, my final verdict on Ledger, what do I think? Well, I would say that Ledger is a reference in hardware wallets. You have excellent security. Honestly, there's nothing to criticize. They have put a lot of effort into it and they are extremely serious about it. You can sleep you can close, you can sleep peacefully. You have a very good ecosystem with Ledger Live Plus, the plus compatibility with many applications, and that's very, very cool. You have Ledger, which has a very good reputation, and therefore It makes it a safe choice for anyone who wants to protect their cryptocurrencies. And then regarding the one I recommend the most, well, for me, it would be the Ledger Flex, which is simply the best compromise between quality, price, security, and ease of use. In short, for me, is really the one I would recommend. So yes, Ledger, if you want my final opinion on Ledger, yes, Ledger is reliable, it's secure, and it's mature. So there you go. I hope my opinion has been useful. You have the information in the description of this video, and I'll see you next time.
It was Jeremy.